Hey, what's going on guys? Cloud of Truth here with some more Medal of Honor Warfighter gameplay, and today I want to discuss with you all some tips to help improve your game in Medal of Honor Warfighter, and these are by no means the ultimate master tips that are going to give you 100% guaranteed success all the time. These are just a few tips that I have integrated into my playstyle, my game style, that have allowed me to become a little bit better of a Medal of Honor Warfighter player and allowed for a much more enjoyable experience while playing this game. So for today's gameplay, I've got a round of TDM on Sarajevo Stadium for you all. At least I believe that's how it's pronounced. And if it's not, I do apologize. I'm not the best when it comes to pronunciations. And I think I finished 17-2 during this match, so it was a pretty good game. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this gameplay. And throughout the round, I was doing something that I'm going to be discussing a little bit later on in regards to one of the tips. And which allow me to have a pretty good match. Now, it was by no means my best game, but it was still a pretty good round. So the first tip I'm going to start off with today is something that I have discussed in several previous Medal of Honor Warfighter videos, and that is the fact that this is a brand new game. This is a new feel, it has a very different play style, and just overall experience than any other first-person shooter out there. So just keep that in mind while jumping into this game, that it's not going to handle like any sort of Battlefield, Call of Duty, Halo, TF2, anything like that. It's going to be very different, and just be ready to accept something new that you're not used to, because it's not going to handle or feel like any of those other first-person shooters. And taking the playstyle and mindset of your favorite FPS game into Warfighter is going to lead to lots of frustration and disappointment for you as the player. So the second thing is the controls, which is very important in this game. Now is the time to mess around with your controls, your sensitivity, get everything set just right. And you should do that as soon as you're in your first match. After you've been playing around for maybe 2 or 3 minutes during the round, just see how the controls are set up at first and then change them to how you like them. Now, for you console guys, I know this, at least on PlayStation 3, there is a function under the controls options if you are a Battlefield 3 player and you play that game a lot and you like the control setup there. Medal of Honor Warfighter has a control option which will allow you to go from default to Battlefield. Just go to where it has the control setups and where it has your controller layout, and you can click on, I believe it says default, and scroll down to where it says Battlefield. Click on that and the controls will be just like the F3. So now let's actually move on to some in-game tips, and the first one is that it is very important in Medal of Honor Warfighter, as well as basically any other first-person shooter out there, to gain map knowledge. You need to understand the design and the layout of these maps, and within the specific game modes that you desire to play. For instance, here on Sarajevo Stadium in Team Deathmatch, the map looks very different than it will on Sector Control. You need to understand and realize this, that if you wish to play different game modes, the maps are not always going to look the same. So gaining the knowledge and understanding of how these maps are laid out, what their designs are like, is very important. And on top of that, having this knowledge gives you a huge advantage over an enemy that maybe perhaps is still wandering around trying to find his way. This will allow you to understand what the best flank routes are, which paths lead to a dead end, which areas of the map you know you don't want to be stuck in, where are the spawn locations, etc. Things like that is going to put you a step ahead of all your enemies that don't know these things, and taking the time right now to understand how these maps are designed and laid out will pay off big time down the road. So the next thing I want to discuss with you all is the class system in Medal of Honor Warfighter, and it's very important to understand that these different classes within the game have got their own unique roles, their own different roles, and using these classes to their strengths will allow you to have the most success. Now, while some may be closely related to each other, each is a little bit different. And so once again, make sure you're playing to your class's strength and doing their role effectively and really as it's intended. And within the classes come the weapons, and this is where a lot of people get a little bit frustrated with this game, is understanding how the weapons function. And there's one thing that's very important that a lot of people still don't know about, and that is the attachments. Make sure you're playing around with the attachments to find the one that works the best for you, and find the one that works the best on the map you're playing. For instance, if you're playing a longer, more open map, perhaps a weapon with a little bit better magnification and a barrel for a more suitable for long-range engagements will do better, as opposed to one that has more agility and is better for close quarters engagements. So things like that you need to consider. So once again, mess around with the attachments within each class on the weapons to suit your personal playstyle, the class's strengths, and the map you're playing on. So now let's actually talk about the engagements, one-on-one gunfights. How do you do a little bit better and build up your score chains a little bit higher? Well, there's a few tips I can give you guys, and the first two really go together, and that is slow down, take things a little bit easier, don't rush around as much, and use cover to your advantage, especially when you're reloading. Reload animations, or just times in general in this game, are longer than some other first-person shooters out there, so make sure you're reloading behind cover, and you can reload on the run if you're running through an area which your teammates are in. However, don't run into a new area where there's no teammates and you don't know what's there. If there's enemies, if there's nobody and you're unsure, make sure you're staying behind cover when you're reloading, and as well as using cover and during a gunfight. Make sure you're staying behind cover while engaging an enemy. Now, you're not going to be able to do this all the time, but doing this will allow you to have much more success because you're only exposing a portion of your body to him, and if he's caught out in the open, that's going to give you a huge advantage in the gunfight. Now, I've already said this, slow it down, take it easy. What I really mean by that is think before you move. Don't just rush into an area, go ham and just hold the sprint button down. Think before you move. Anticipate the fact that there's going to be an enemy around the corner. Right here was a very stupid move. I should have pulled back, reloaded my weapon, and then engaged the enemy. Instead, what did I do? I was dumb and I ran forward and I got myself killed for that. So slow down. Think before you move. And the final tip to go along with that I can give you guys is using the Fireteam buddy system effectively. And I detailed that in a previous video. I'll link it in the description. Now, it wasn't a complete overview. This was just kind of a small discussion about it, talking about how it's such a great system and using it right is one of the best things you can do in Medal of Honor Warfighter to improve your gameplay and help your team win. And I'll probably detail that in a later video, talking more in depth about it, about how to really use it to its potential. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, found it helpful and informative. If you have any other tips, please leave them in the comment section below. And for those of you wondering about support actions, I'm planning on covering those in a later video. Don't know if it'll be a support actions video or if I'll do it perhaps in a class breakdown videos. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. But once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Have a good day. Bye.